if this guy is your reference angle, can you guys graph the angle in quadrant 2, in quadrant 3, and quadrant 4 that use pi over 6 as a reference angle? Do that right now. Boom. So if this one right here is pi over 6, this is pi over 6. This right here is 5 pi over 6. And again, how did we get that? We got that because we know that this is 6 pi over 6 right here, because that's 1 pi. If we back up 1 pi over 6, this is what we get. We get 5 pi over 6. If we go forward pi over 6, we get 7 pi over 6. And then this angle right here is 12 pi over 6. And so we back up 1 pi over 6, we would get 11 pi over 6. So those angles are all related to each other by the reference angle pi over 6. And I know this is the first time you guys are really graphing some of the radians onto the graph, so I'm going to help you out with the next one. The next one has this this angle right here. What angle is that? Okay, let's see. If I were to go all the way, that would be pi, right? Right. Okay. If I just go this angle like this, and we got there, and we got this right here, and so you have that. How many sections is that? That's 4 sections. And so let's think about this as 4 pi over 4. So if this is pi over 4, this would be 2 pi over 4. And then this guy, what would this one be? 3 pi over 4. Okay, but remember, we only want the ones that have the reference angle of pi over 4. So I'm going to erase these guys because they don't have a reference angle of pi over 4. Just 3 pi over 4 and pi over 4. But there's other ones too, like the ones on the bottom. We have this one, which would be, let's see, if this is 4 pi over 4, what would this one be? Just one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 pi over 4. And what would this last one be right here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pi over 4. 7 pi over 4, right? Because one more would be 8 pi over 4, which would make 2 pi, because all the way around is 2 pi. Okay, did you guys already figure out the last one? Like, what is the reference angle right here? Did you guys do it yet? Did you do it? Pause it. See if you guys can figure it out. Ask yourself, how many sections would that angle split up 1 pi? All right, we got thinkers up in here. If you have this angle right here, you do it one more time, and then one more time. How many times does it split up pi? It splits it up into 3 sections. So I'm going to say this is 3 pi over 3, just so I can split up into 3 sections. This would be 1/3 of pi. Or you can just say pi over 3. That's 1/3 of pi over, or 1/3 of pi. And then what would this one be? This is 1 pi over 3. This would be 2 pi over 3. And look at that pi over 3 and that 2 pi over 3. They are both 1/3 of pi away from the x-axis. They both give you the same height right there. That's why they are reference angles. Okay, and then what would this one be down here? Let's see, this would be 3 pi over 3, and then we would go all the way over to here to get 4 pi over 3. This would be a negative height, but it'd be kind of like the same distance. And then this one right here, that would be, ooh, what's that one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pi over 3. And if I went all the way around with a denominator of 3, what would that be? Yeah, that'd be 6 pi over 3. Okay, but these guys have nothing to do with our reference angles, so I'm going to get rid of them. Pi over 3 is your reference angle, and these are the dudes that he is related to. Important to know.